Good evening, good evening, good evening. Who promised a trip to Turkey so you could get some new hair and teeth, but brings you back with a 1-0 loss and your tail between your legs? It's not us. It's Arnie Fraud, I nearly called him. Arnie Slot there. We're in trouble already, boys. It's the American Scouser TV Thursday night podcast at ASTV for the cool kids. Our XG is 20-5, if anybody's wondering. I'm joined by Brian and Cozzy tonight. How are we, gentlemen?
Good. Really good.
Surviving.
Let's have a look at what we will talk about tonight. It's a doozy one because, I figured it seems to me that all of the people in the club and the strategic and stat sheet things seem to have listened to us all summer. When we said things, they came out as rumors the week after. So let us have a look at maybe how we could solve problems at Liverpool right now. We'll talk about the game a little bit. And we'll talk about basically what the hell is going on, like Marvin Gaye said, in a much more sexy way than I ever will. And then we'll look ahead to the game against Chelsea on the weekend, because it's another away game, I believe, and that's 3 away games. But I remember Jared Houllier used to say a thing that good teams don't lose 2 games in a row. Slot needs to get his finger out for this game coming up, and I don't have much confidence. But let's talk about that as we go along. So, 1-0 loss against Galatasaray, Cozzy and Brian. I've still only seen like bare highlights of the game, but looking at the stats, it was a poor and appalling performance, at least in the first half. It's become a malaise, I will say at this point. It's a trend. It's starting to become a trend. And there's so much to look at in the overall big picture. But as regards the Galatasaray game, Cozzy, as I pull up some little stats here just to show, we had more of the ball, we had more shots, we had the same amount of shots on target, we had more accurate passes. We do everything except do the part where you're supposed to score goals, which involves passing the ball forward. And as we will see in a little bit, that seemed to be our bloody problem. What went on with this Galatasaray game? I know it's a feisty atmosphere, but so is Anfield. We've been in feisty atmospheres before. But, we shouldn't be intimidated. We shouldn't be cowed. Is this a game to put on the players, or is this a game to put on the manager?
The manager picks that team. He picks the players. You could also argue players, of course, but I do think it's a big system issue at the moment. Listen, Liverpool, I thought for the first 15 were fine again. I think we have been fine for the first 15 in a lot of games. I think we've been okay. But then we are just lacking some bite into our football. I feel like they think things will just happen for them without trying to make things happen, which is a really bad place to be in as a football team. You have to go out and force the issue. There's a part of this with the Galatasaray game, I think, where, as much as I agree with that quote, by the way, good teams don't lose to on the bounce. This is their cup final. Liverpool are people's cup finals. Let's be frank here, it's only Real Madrid or Barcelona maybe that they want, apart from Liverpool, as the biggest team that they want to play and that they are going to play. So you were going to see the best of Galatasaray. But Liverpool continuously just play into the hands. I've never seen a more naive football team. And that's another scary thing. They're not clever footballers at the moment. And the reason why I say that is, gents, I don't mean tactically or technically. I mean, if you're having a team, the opposition, you want to go down by every tackle, why are you making stupid tackles? Why are you giving them the opportunity to waste time? Why are you kicking the ball out for a throw-in because you can't pass the ball properly and let them waste 40 seconds on a throw-in? That's on you. That's on you to keep the ball in play. Do you know what's really easy, gents? Football is if you keep hold of the ball and you make real good, precise forward passes. That's good football. And Liverpool at the moment are not playing good football. And we can look at the team that he started and we can get into the tactics of it and all that. there's two. I think there's two parts of this, gents. Number one, a lot of players are woefully out of form. They just are, and we can get to them. Kanate, for example, is what Gravenberch, McAllister. You can probably argue that they're out of form, right? I know Gravenberch had good games, but he hasn't really had a good 90, I would say. But now there's anyone, really. And number two, there's also a part where the manager is throwing in all his new signings at the same time, and I think it's a real bad look. And it's making Liverpool have options to bleed these players in, and he's not. I look at the left back, and by the way, Kirkes is not the problem. Kirkes is a part of a problem, but he's not the problem. But I also look at Andy Robertson. I think we all would agree we would have seen a lot more of Andy Robertson this season. We haven't. Conor Bradley. I think I would have seen a little bit more of him. I know he's had injuries and things like that, so you have to take it easy. Okay, you can swallow that. I look at the forward line, at least in terms of Wirtz, as your 10, where Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Jones, McAllister, they're all there. They were there last season, but he's persisting. It's now come to a point where I feel like the Chelsea game is massive. It's massive. I'm actually at the stage where I know I've seen other fans mention this as well, gents. They want to see a performance. I don't. I need just win the game and get out of here. So, and the reason why I'm saying that is, gents, just come back in 2 weeks and regroup. Just come back in 2 weeks, go out on a high, win the game, and by any means necessary, then come back in 2 weeks and regroup. You come back to a game which is United at home, which is a really good game to come back to. But Liverpool are very close here to, I'm not saying slipping into oblivion because that's a real over-exaggeration, but giving away more ground than they need to. And it's only because of themselves, really.
Brian, now I've mentioned several times my fear that the best parts of Arne Slot are Klopp-like, Benitez-like even, but some of the worst parts of Arne Slot are Rodgers-like. And the stats for the Galatasaray game kind of bear that out. We won the passing, as we used to say, in Rodgers' worst days. We won the passing, but obviously that's not enough. I mean, in every metric there, we're a team that passes the ball, but did we pass the ball to death against Galatasaray? Is part of the problem that we just don't have initiative to go forward, and we can kind of see that. If we look at I love these little pass and network things. I wish they had them when I was I wish I could afford them when I was a coach. But like I'm on Cozzy's side about Kirkes not being the problem and being a part of the problem. But one thing we mentioned in the Discord is Kirkes and Gakpo not making any sort of relational contact. And in the pass map, it doesn't look like there's been a single pass between them.
Sorry, they haven't put Kirkes hasn't passed forward. Is that what that's telling?
That's what that's telling. That's what that's saying in the Galatasaray game. Didn't make a single forward pass.
Didn't make a pass forward, and neither did Szoboszlai. Frimpong plays right wing, so it's hard for him to pass forward, and neither's really Szoboszlai. That's a sideways pass, isn't it? That is absolutely wild. Sorry, Brian.
It's mad though.
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead, Brian. That's
248 passes in your own half. That's a damning stat to me. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's a Brendan Rodgers stat. If you look at the Celtic forms, that's what they're complaining about. Why do we need 248 passes in our own half?
I mean, that's
score.
That's absurd right there. But again, right there, when you're talking about that, about not being Kirk's fault, I think there's a whole problem with that entire left side. I mean, on there, because I've said right there, you have McAllister, who's totally out of form right there, and you've basically brought in Ekitike at one point right there, who was playing on that part. Then you brought in Gakpo with that part. Gakpo has been out of form. So again, you could basically have 11. I'd say probably about 9 out of the 11 players on there have been out of form. I mean, easily I could say that I'm right there. And I know that this, again, we talked about it last week and the week before right there about the whole thing that happened this summer with Jota and stuff like that. But it comes to a point right there where you have to come in there and let that go. I'm sorry. I mean, it goes to a point right there. I understand it's an emotional toll on you, but you have to come in there and go and you have to move on. And I mean, it's a hard fact of life right there. But I mean, it seems like this side right there hasn't grasped control of each other. But I agree with what Kazi said also. You're trying to blood all these new players in at the same time right there, instead of actually going there and doing piece by piece right there. I mean, put Jones in? Why hasn't Jones come in there and had more minutes than what Jones probably should have right there in there? If Verts isn't working on there, okay, first of all, we do Crystal Palace, we put him on the left-hand side, which was the most. I don't even quite understand why you put a number 10 on the left-hand side, kind of like we did with Coutinho at one point, and Coutinho's game dived right there when we put him on that side, that left-hand side. If you come there and creating a master plan right there of having a free number 10, you don't come there and have it locked into a position right there. And if you watched what he did in that Crystal Palace match right there, he drifted to the middle. He drifted either to the center of the pitch or he drifted over to the right. So he never stayed in that position on the left. So you basically left your left-hand side right there for basically wide open and we got ran over on that part of the pitch. So I mean, there's this damning things that go right there. It's one of those things right there, where you sometimes have to go back to basics right there about going through triangles again. I mean, it's working your system right there by going again, not sideways passes, not going there backwards passes, but try to go and take possession of the ball, move the ball forward. And again, 248 to 210 passes right there. I mean, from there, you're passing somebody to death, but you're not doing anything. I mean, you're not making any impact. I mean, that's a problem.
I mean, if you look at the triangle thing you talked about there, the biggest triangle was Kerkez to Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, and then back to Virgil. I mean,
that's damning. That's really damning. And is that average position of players?
Average position as well, yeah.
The part of the Gakpo's actually probably doing what he was doing last season in terms of the left wing side of where you want him to be. But Ekatike and Wirtz are standing next to each other and they're far too deep. Look at where Wirtz is picking up the ball.
Yeah.
As much as we can say, Wirtz this first down, I'm sure we'll get into him, but you don't want to pick up the ball there, do we? I want to pick up the ball fucking on the line with Gakpo.
Yeah.
I want Ekatike further forward, but Liverpool. So this where it comes back to, is this a system issue? Is this a shape? Is this system? Because it feels like to me it is. The Palace game's interesting because it's on the back of the Palace game. If the Palace game was 6 weeks ago, I wouldn't really bring it up. But the manager's worrying me. He's gone to Palace there and played 4-2-2-2, a really narrow 2 against a team that plays 3-5-2 with 2 massive wing backs. Why are you playing a narrow formation? Am I fucking losing my mind? I genuinely, Kerkez looks up and Wirtz is playing in the number 10. He's like, I've got 70 yards to cover. I felt sorry for him. I genuinely felt sorry for Kerkez and I've given him some stick. But I felt sorry for the lad. The manager there, right, he's been done. Let's be frank. Against Palace, he got done. He got outclassed, he got out tactical. Liverpool didn't deserve anything from the game. You could argue Liverpool played well in the second half. They played better. I wouldn't say they played well, but they played better. But that wasn't really much of a fucking jump because they were absolutely atrocious in the first half. And then you get to Galatasaray and you picked your team that you picked and you have to swallow it. But there comes a point, Gent, right, where you need to take players out for their own good. And we're getting that stage with Konate. Now, we can talk about Wirtz. Sometimes, Gent, like when I'm saying take players out for their own good, you can leave Wirtz in because when he loses the ball, you can't punish him. We don't get punished that much if he lost the ball. By the way, I didn't think he was that bad. I actually think this has been blown out of proportion, Wirtz. I thought his ball to Weizak is a joke. I give the Galatasaray game, it's an unbelievable pass,
The interesting thing I was looking up today is that our 2 highest, in the Premier League at least, our 2 highest key passers, in other words, they get the ball to a player who messes up the shot, are Cody Gakpo and then Florian Wirtz. He's actually setting players up. If they finished, he'd have one of the highest stats. So his passing isn't the problem. It's almost the other parts of the game, really, isn't it?
And again, sometimes maybe when he gives the ball away, I don't mind me number 10 giving the ball away because he's trying to get a pass off. He's trying to fire a pass out into a striker. You're going to give the ball away. It's easy for him to turn around and pass it back to the centre mids. Do you know what I mean? So, Konate wants the killer for me, gents. That's a stage where this is getting it's self-sabotage by keep picking him. You're sabotaging yourself because he's giving the ball away and they're getting strikes at goal. When Florian Wirtz gives the ball away, Galatasaray or Palace are not getting strikes at goal. Let's be frank, he's at fault. Again, but it was definitely a fault for Alisson's injury. He's at fault. You can want the penalty all you like. I don't care if it's a pen or no pen. I'm not interested. I don't know what Szoboszlai's doing. I can argue that. I don't know what he's doing. Right, it's cheap, but he's also a centre midfielder. He played number 8 last year, playing right back. when we've got 2 right backs, or at least a right back and a right wing back. You have 2 players. There's literally other players I would rather see that are fit to play in that position. You picked them. He got done first of all. Someone ran off him, didn't he? Or 5 minutes before it, ran off and got a shot away. Alisson made a great save. And then he gets done for the pen. And then Kanate gets Alisson injured. So there's a lot of catalogue of individual errors that keep happening. But there's also past this, when there's individual errors keep happening, gents, you've got to go back to basics. I'm going to go, lads, this is how we did it last season. You do Robertson left back, you do Bradley right back, you go with your midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai, or if you don't want to do Mack, you do Jones. Szoboszlai, Gakpo, Ekitike, Salah. That, or it'd be Isaac probably against Chelsea, Salah. And just go back to basics for a bit. It's okay. I don't know if this is something, gents, where the manager's like, people don't really know that. That wasn't my team last year. That wasn't my team. And he wants to put his own imprint on it. He wants to put, and he's earned his right to do that. You earn your right to do that at the expense of where Liverpool are going right now. Liverpool have played well in parts this season in games. I thought we were unbelievable for 30 minutes against Everton. I thought we were unbelievable. But we are at the stage now where we don't look like we can score a goal. In the second half, at least, we didn't look like we scored a goal. And this is the thing about the Ekitike, by the way, and I want to mention this because this is important. He goes through one-on-one. First of all, he should pass the Frimpong. He should pass. Watch it again. Number 2, he's trying to stud roller past the keeper. He's trying to stud roller. He's trying to do the flip, the stud roll. To roll it past the keeper, then I don't mind a strike. I love when strikers take the keeper on. You don't try and stud roll it to go past the keeper. You don't. That's a joke. That is a joke. I love a confident lad. But after the manager called you out last week saying you celebrated like that when you should have went to Chiesa, being a bit more humble, and went, that was all you, that fella. And you're trying to stud roll it past the keeper and didn't even look at Frimpong. My head fell off. My head fell off with it. Watch it back, gents. When everyone gets a chance to watch it back, watch back that chance. Watch where Frimpong is. He's right next to him. He's 5 yards away. Pass and go. And by the way, how much? By the way, would that be a lovely bow on the controversy around Southampton when he returns the favour to one of his players? You know what I mean? He returns the favour then to one of his players to go. Chiesa did it to me, and I'll do it for Frimpong. Yeah.
Now, before, I don't want to leave Brian silent for too long, but me and you, because you were very old school and how we watch football, probably because we grew up watching, as much of the Championship as we did, nearly sometimes the Premier League. But here's what really kind of stuck in my craw. We look at this particular stat: duels. We didn't bloody win many. And we just barely won the aerial duels. And the thing for me is, you earn the right to play. That's what I was brought up as a player. You earn the right to play. That's what was great about the Klopp team, was we earned the right to play. And when we had our bad games, it was almost always because the pressing wasn't right. And we weren't, we didn't do the defensive work first. This team isn't, at least against Galatasaray. I mean, we lost almost every duel. And you really are praying. You're throwing Hail Mary passes, to use an NFL term, aren't you? By not, bodying up, as they would say.
You don't win games if you don't win your duels.
Yeah.
You don't win your battle, you don't win games. Whether I like it or not, gents, you have to win your battle, your individual battle, in midfield especially. You have to win it. Liverpool are not winning their battles. They don't want to. It feels like they don't want to get stuck in. It feels like they haven't got the fight right now, the desire to win a battle. Listen, there's a lot of players there who started in that Galatasaray game who played in the Premier League. They understand, right? They understand. Pereira, Lamina, Gundogan, Alison Sanchez, maybe someone else, I can't remember. There's a lot of players there who played in the Premier League and know exactly what it's like. They've come there and Liverpool didn't want to battle with them. And that's frustrating. That's really annoying. But also, I feel like, is that a confidence thing? Because there shouldn't be a lack of confidence. There shouldn't be. You've won loads of games of footy, lads. You've won the league last year. You should be strolling around the park and going, but you know what? No one's going to outwork us. Every good team that's won the league, gents, has battled. I'm so annoyed with them at the moment, mate. I really am, because I don't know where they turn. Like, if we go to Chelsea away, it's not a battle of laughs. I know they've got a couple of injuries, Chelsea and Light, and Chelsea aren't really, fucking Mourinho's. Chelsea, far from it. But if you don't win your midfield battle, Caicedo and Enzo will run all over you. They just run all over you. So we have a massive, massive thing to do, and I don't know really what the manager does or what he turns to right now.
Brian, in terms of the Galatasaray game, just in the overall thing, before we start digging down and drilling down into the overall season and how they should listen to us and pay us instead of the Excel spreadsheet bots to solve everything. I was talking to somebody who was a Barcelona fan about their loss to Paris Saint-Germain yesterday. And the point I made was the great thing about this new league format is you can give up a game early on and it's not going to kill you the way losing a group game away may hurt you in the previous kind of iteration. So it's probably, if we're going to lose a game to Galatasaray, this was the time to do it, wasn't it? Second game in where you have a chance to make it up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but again, right there, this needs to go there. Yeah, but you hate to lose any match right there. I mean, that's the problem right there. I mean, because again, what's going to happen next? Because I mean, with that, I guess it's a big question marks right there. What's going to happen right there? Or are we going to get ourselves back out of that form? But yeah, sure, you can lose a game early on right there. I mean, honestly, you can probably say like the last on match day 1. We were kind of lucky to get out on match day 1 right there with 3 points. I mean, honestly, I mean, so it's just a cycle right now that's going through right there. That's happening. I don't know what it is, but I mean, to kind of feed off of a little bit of what Kazi was saying right there on there. I mean, why are we playing Szoboszlai as a right back when you have 2 right backs that you sign? You have Frimpong, who is a right winger in my opinion, but that's another subject right there. And and you have Bradley there, but again, right there, you have a player that's playing in the pivot that's not actually working out at the moment. That's having problems. I'm sorry, I think McAllister right now, his form is pretty rough. I mean, where if Szoboszlai is on the ascend, put him in a double pivot right there, because again, I think that he can play there. There's a lot. Because I think that he's actually has not been bad at all as form wise right there throughout this most of the season right there. But again, you're keep on playing players to play players to play players. Eventually, right there, you have to go in there and actually go and put a timeout on there. Konate is the same exact situation right there. I mean, again, I watched Konate go in there and lose aerial duels. I should not go in there and see a center half is he 6'5", I think is what Konate is. I think you shouldn't be losing aerial duels. I'm sorry, that's inexcusable right there. And I mean,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So okay, yeah, we lost Leone, but we never were vested in Leone to come in there and play right now anyway. But I mean, again, it goes back to something that Kazi and I hit off months ago. You failed in the transfer window right there to get a center half, and that you could actually we said right there you are one center half injury and form from slipping back. We're seeing that right now. I mean, I think we're seeing the cause, the effect from the cause. I mean, right at the moment, and so again. Put Gomez in right now. Put somebody in right there. But I just don't have faith in Konate at the moment. I just don't. I mean, I'm not going to bash the player right there, but I'm just watching things happen in front of me. I'm just like, who is this guy?
I will. I'll bash him. He's fucking crap. No, yeah, because it has to be said. He's been absolutely garbage. He's been dreadful. And it has to be said, though. But by the way, this is not a dig in a single out Konate. I'd do it to any player. He's been dreadful. And he's not. This is the other part, though, Mac, right? And this is where the coming from defence, it leads to the attack, because the midfield's got to trust him as well. It's all about trusting your teammates. Are you going to put one in today? Are you going to throw another fucking performance like you did against Palace today? Are you going to do what you did against Galatasaray? This thing, by the way, is aerial duels. Why does he have to win every single battle? Every single time the ball's in the air, he has to win it. Lad, why can't he just stand off him for 5 yards? And then the lad falls over and he gives away a free kick. The other thing, and by the way, okay, this is even the funnier part. You're garbage at the moment of centre half. You've had chances to score 3 headers, and you can't even help us out there. You can't even go, lads, I've been garbage there, but I'll help you out going forward. He's had like 4 or 5 this season, really good chances for headers, and he hasn't hit the target. He hasn't hit the target. The one against Burnley is 2 yards out.
He heads that goal the way he heads clearances.
Mate, honestly, honestly, lad, it's like I don't. So you're not even helping us out there, then, because using your physical stature, at least for a goal for us. So, honestly, and I agree. Listen, the centre-half thing, right? Liverpool, it wasn't a surprise that Liverpool went in for Mark Gay on deadline day. It was being linked for weeks. But Liverpool, let's be frank here, whether we rate the window or not, and Liverpool did unbelievable business. No one's arguing Liverpool had an unbelievable window. You were still short of centre-half. You needed a centre-half last season. You needed one last season, never mind this season. So, this thing of we went in for them deadline day. Yet deadline day, you tried to sign Crystal Palace's captain on deadline day. Think about that for a second. Who goes and signs a captain on deadline day, gents? It's absolutely wild. And now, first of all, Leone was never an option because he's still a kid. He's 18, coming from fucking Parma and barely kicked the ball for them.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, but he's done his ACL. And then your other two options, because Van Dijk is, of course, Van Dijk, are Konate and Joe Gomez, who can barely combine a season together because of injuries. So, is this a surprise? Is this something? So now what you've done is played your hand, because now you don't feel comfortable dropping Konate in case Joe Gomez gets injured, and then Konate's doing every single game anyway. So you played yourself into this corner now. What do Liverpool do? Liverpool, I think you need to give Joe Gomez a chance to go in his place back and go to Konate. You've been dreadful. It's not like, oh my God, you've been awful all season, mate. All season you've been crap. So let's give Joe Gomez a chance, but we'll see what happens. But by the way, I don't think the manager will.
You will need to be watching this show. Brian, let me ask you this question, because Steve asked it a while ago, and I wanted to give it some air. He wanted my opinion. I don't know why. My wife doesn't even want my opinion, so let's not ask me. We all know what happened when that happened last week. But here's my question. It could be effort, it could be tactics, but going back to kind of what you were talking about with the players being selected, do you think, like last year, he had to kind of stick with the same team because he had no purchases except for Chiesa in, so he was able to kind of build a sense of unity, but there was also a sense of responsibility from the players that the one or two bench players that you had available could take your spot. You know, if McAllister wasn't doing his job, Curtis Jones was hungry and waiting there. But it seems like we talked about horses for courses pre-season, but one of the downfalls of horses for courses is that players they know they're going to get picked at some point again anyway. They don't have to earn their spots. Florian Wirtz isn't earning his spot right now. And that's not to say he's playing terrible, but he's not being effective, as I think it was a topic we talked about before here on Thursday. It's not just enough to have ability. You have to have some sort of effective ability. You have to make a positive contribution to the result of the game. You're a professional footballer in the first team. That's your job. The fact that you can play poorly if you're Konate for 5 weeks now in a row, more than that, and not get dropped, even for an injury-prone but solid central defender. I mean, you don't really have any impetus to put in your best performance game to game if you know you're getting selected in the next one, do you?
I mean, I think also if you want to go in that whole thing, I think, again, you have a player whose head's turned right there, who's basically think this whole grandeur of going over to Spain, just like the last one did right there. And I think you had his head turned. But again, when you play in a form like this and you're actually going there doing what you're doing at the moment right there, do you think that the world's that anybody in the world right now is actually looking at you as a viable option at the moment? I mean, that's the whole thing. What I'm seeing now, all of a sudden, now we're starting to see contract talk going with Konate and the confidence level coming and going high that we're going to sign him. Why? I mean, okay, so I mean, again, right there, he had one decent season since he's been here, one last year, and that was fair. I mean, at times, I mean, the other seasons right there. First of all, he couldn't put like 4 matches in a row right there without being injured right there for about 2 seasons. I mean, and form right there. Again, it's like, I just don't know why you vest in players right there, you know, the sign players and contracts right there who are not living up to expectations. And I mean, if you're supposed to be a world-class center half, why are you doing this? What is the deal? What's the problem right there? When you've seen like an 18-year-old in Højlund right there, and the Hoyson, the guy that got signed for Real Madrid, that he's going to start above Konate. I mean, again, he's. I mean, it's. I mean, It's not going to happen for this guy, and it's like I guess I'm just really frustrated right there that why we're now all of a sudden coming there and jumping into this contract negotiation after we talked to this guy for like the past 3 seasons about renewing a contract, but now it's like, okay, I realize that the Grady train that I think I'm going to give a free transfer is probably about to go. Hey, agent, come in there and start talking about contracts again. It's utterly ridiculous right there, and I'm just done with that.
I think it's hard because I don't think he's been as bad as what you were saying there, Brian, right? I think he had a really great 21-22. He's man the match in the Champions League final in Paris. He's unbelievable. But I agree with you because of his fitness argument. So it's like, hey, if you're asking for $250,000 a week, you got to be fit. Like, the reason why Salah and Van Dijk are paid the big box fans, do you know why? They're fucking available every week. It helps, as much as they are, of course, unbelievable football players, but it helps to be available. It's an easy conversation to have, isn't it? Hey lad, so you want $250 a week, but you can only do 27 games for me a season? Huh? So there's a part of this I just think where there also doesn't help with this like weird grab and burst thing that's happening with his new role as well. I don't know what's going on there. I don't think he's really being the outright 6, which isn't helping him. But also, Kanata, you got to help yourself. You've got to help your fucking self. Sometimes you've got to dust yourself down and can't rely on other people to bail you out all the time. It's a tough sport, man. It can be isolating. And he also, by the way, he plays in apart from the goalkeeper, the most isolating positions on a football field. Get the ball away, there could be a goal. Like, that's why it's fine for Florian Wirtz to get the ball away. Because it's not really going to affect him. So you give him time because we can create him when you're the game. Same with Isaac and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, man. I'm at the stage with him where I just think it'd probably be better for everyone, including himself. He just give him at least the Chelsea game off and say, come back in 2 weeks. Just come back. The international break's a great time. If you do want to rest him and do Gomez, and then you can bring him back in at home at United. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a nice time to do it, that's all.
I think the kind of the close off that side of things, the very best of Kanate, you get Champions League winning performance. The very worst of him makes you wish you could play Matip today as he is right now today.
My favourite tweet after the Galatasaray game was, how far is Leone away in his rehab? Surely, as of right now, he's better than this version of Kanate. Right now, he's better than this version.
On one leg.
But, I mean, listen, it is what it is. I think Liverpool, it's hard to keep judging them and all that because of what they've done for us, but this is a massive game of football on the weekend. I really feel that. It feels giant. You can't lose 3 on the bounce as a Liverpool manager. And you know what I mean? It's happened under Klopp and COVID. That was because it was COVID, and we all forgave that season, of course. But this is not good.
And we're going to, as much as we don't want to belabor the point, we're going to belabor the point because we're the solution makers on this podcast on Thursday night. So we're going to talk about the overall season and what we think is going wrong overall. So we can include all the games and et cetera, et cetera. But the first thing I want to show you is this. This is our goals scored by 10-minute increments and our goals conceded. And 2 massive things jump out there. The first one is how many, obviously, last-minute goals we scored, but how often we seem to collapse in the second half. We can either concede early or we concede in the second half. Now, before we get into the basics and why that's happening and our opinions, what does that kind of very small sample size statistic, Brian and Cozzy, what does that tell you? Does that tell you a mentality issue, a fitness issue, or is the manager just screwing up the halftime team talk or even making stupid changes at halftime that he doesn't necessarily need to make? What say you? We'll start with Brian.
So I don't think you really go about the substitutions at halftime because, I mean, I've seen only a couple of matches where he's actually came there, went and brought subs, and that's where it was gone completely wrong. So I think a lot of things that you have right there is complacency. I think that's one of the biggest things that you have on there, and I think that teams right there, again, if you watch what Crystal Palace did right there, they basically dropped into a 5-3-2 right there from at one point right there, and they came there and just swarmed our midfield. I mean, and that's kind of what it's kind of a blueprint right there. And I think we saw that earlier in the season. I think that when we played Bournemouth, I think that was the beginning of seeing teams, hey, then maybe this is a way right there for us to come there and do it. We can just go in and ride that first opening couple of minutes, that first 20 minutes, that that Liverpool are going to come at you. But hey, they're going to go with their minds are going to go out of it. They're going to get complacent, and we're going to go in and be able to get our chances in the second half. And that's what you see right there. You see the second half right there where you're seeing the chances flow. Again, I think form is a big thing at the moment right there, that we're still trying to play players in the form when they shouldn't be playing in the form. If you go to a point right there where you have, again, I can't really hype those much right there. Talk about is I think that the McAllister that I saw last year is not the McAllister that I see right now. It's not. I mean, I think there's problems right there, and I can't go in there yet. Should Robertson maybe go in there and go and study that right there? I think we saw that Kirk has got brought off for his own good in the first half of a match, and Robertson came in and just studied it right there. But I think more or less that there is a disconnect right there that we see on that left-hand side. We talked about last year about the disconnect that we had with Diaz and Robertson right there. Now you're seeing a different version of this disconnect right there, because I think that, again, the stats right there with Galatasaray, Gakpo's basically left alone. I mean, it's basically there's nothing going to him. So you're easily coming there and opening up that whole entire left-hand side right there to break down. So I think that teams are just figuring out how to come in there and get with this, how to mentally hit us. And I think it's what's happening.
Here's the thing, just before, I don't want to jump off anybody's point there, but just looking at the graph now, if you look at, like, we seem fairly even, very balanced in the first half in terms of scoring goals. But then in those first 30 minutes of the second half, we're not scoring anything.
I can't get over that.
That's weird, isn't it? That's literally like, hey, you have the ball. Let's see what you can do now.
That's prime time football scoring time.
Yeah.
It's between the 50th minute and the fucking 80th minute.
Yeah.
That's when you take control of a game. That's when a top team takes control and goes, this is none of your business. We've worked you out in the first half. We've seen you off. We take control now, win the game. To not score a goal in that time is frightening. That is absolutely frightening. Whether that's lack of legs or whatever it is, I don't care. That's frightening. And then the one that stands out to me, you've got to stop giving teams a first goal head start, haven't you?
Yeah, because I'll bring that back up. So
the first 10 minutes, you've got to stop giving teams first goals. This isn't difficult. Stop giving teams the lead in terms of Palace and at least Galatasaray as well. So
let me ask you this though, Cosy, because we had this discussion under Klopp as well. This was a problem under Klopp a lot as well. Giving up early goals.
Yeah, a lot towards
does that suggest that the issue is maybe not the manager necessarily, but maybe maybe the back line is a bit too casual with the passes or something like that, and we're letting teams in by a sloppy pass or something like that?
Not for me, because I think that's why it's still on the team. I don't think it is that. I just think it's the lack of intensity from the first minute. Do you know what I mean? It's the lack of intensity. It's the lack of will to go and get a goal. It's the lack of will to score in the first 10 and go, it's none of your business. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's none of your business here, lads. That's the frustrating part here, and that's where you can't get intensity later on in a game. You have to start intense. You can't just go after 40 minutes, should we be intense now? It doesn't work like that. That's how footy works. You've got to start 100 mile an hour. You've got to start games quick, fast. You've got to get your passing right, your first touch right, your movement right, your turn right. Everything has to be right to win footy matches. There's too many games on a knife edge. The other teams are too good now. 20 years ago, they weren't good. Let's be frank here, right? 20, 25 years ago, the teams in the Premier League weren't good. There was 4 or 5 decent sides. Everyone else was garbage. I don't care. You can say whatever you like, right? That's how I feel. There's all the teams are too good. West Ham are 19th, won 1 game this season, and they have Jared Bowen and Lucas Paqueta. What are we doing? They'll be playing in the Champions League for Champions League clubs. They should be now. Never mind what it was 25 years ago. So what I'm getting at is, you can't just take a half off. You can't just take minutes off in game. Like, Liverpool are very good at game management, where they'll kind of, at least last season, go into the shells of it for 15 minutes and kind of play them, where they go, okay, and understand the game state. If you understand the game state, you're having a good 10 minutes, we'll take that on the chin. That's very wise, and it's very clever, and it's very smart to have when the team recognises when the team's having a good 10 minutes, because they're entitled to have a good 10 minutes, because it's not just you showing up for 90 minutes, showing what you can do, and that's football. No, they're entitled to play some good football as well. Liverpool are very good at managing that, but not this season. We're just not. And that's where they're naive. I keep calling them naive because they're naive. They're extremely naive. They keep thinking that the keeper's going to bail them out. Well, the keeper isn't there anymore. It's a different keeper. He might, by the way, he's learning on the job now. So
I just let us point out that Brian's statement that you'll never play a first team game for Liverpool is now out the window.
It's very much out the window, Brian. But so I mean, again, Liverpool. This Chelsea game, I think you're playing Chelsea at the right time. By the way, I do think you're playing Chelsea at the right time. I think Chelsea is struggling with the 3 games in a week, which has really affected them. Don't talk to me about that other fucking conference that they were in. It meant nothing. Palmer's injured. Tosin's injured, the centre half, I think. So they have a couple of little injuries as well, a couple of little things that they don't like. Liverpool have to go there and win the footy match. I don't care how they win it, but they have to win it, lads. We cannot go into this international break without winning in 3. It's just it cannot happen. If it happens, we're up shit street. Because we're potentially a gents, right? Last weekend, Liverpool had the chance to go 8 points clear. And within 7 days, Arsenal could be top of the league.
Yep.
That is a petrifying place to be. And that cannot happen. So Liverpool have to go out and find a way to fix this. And the way I would fix it is go back to basics.
Now, that's a nice segue to get us into the next bit. Now, when we talk about basics and fundamentals of football, everybody has kind of a different taste of what that happens to be. But in the world of, let's say, coaching, UEFA coaching and all that, it's these chaps here, the technical, the tactical, the physical, and what has become known as the psychosocial. When we look at Liverpool, Brian and Cozzy, start with Brian, the technical side, the first touch, the passing, the dribbling, the shooting, shielding the ball, which I don't think we do very well. Heading, which we've seen some dreadful, I don't know what the hell this thing with the heading with the back of your head stuff that our players seem to have done on corner kicks, but basics like that you don't expect of school kids when they're playing. The tactical side of things, like the attacking shape, the defensive shape, when and where we're getting pressure on the ball, whether we're dropping at the right times, what decisions we're making, the physical speed, strength, stamina, all that lovely stuff, but also, as Cozzy said earlier, winning the physical battles in midfield. And then that psychosocially, what mentality do we have? Are we too casual? Do we have? I love Ian Dowie anyway because he's just such an ugly bloke that played football so uglily and effectively. But he had that great phrase when he was a manager of bounce back ability. Do we have that? Are we too strange to each other? Are the players all like strange to each other? Is there teamwork? We've just seen tonight. Gakpo and Kerkez not having any playing relationship whatsoever in that game against Galatasaray. Are we a team right now, or are we still just a collection of individuals? If we talk about the fundamentals of the game in those terms, Brian, where do you see the biggest breakdowns so far this season compared to how we were last season?
Set pieces. And the set pieces, I'm on a nice edge every time we have a set piece. And go back to Crystal Palace, conceding a goal off a long throw. I mean, I'm sorry, man. That's just like one of the things that it's like when Discord, I came there, put down some of my observations right there of things I had, because I basically cleaned the whole entire house, pissed off right there after that Crystal Palace match, and I was like, it was like I had to go there and clear my mind. The one thing is, are we practicing set pieces in training? Is this a thing right now? Because it seems like they're right there that I'm watching. It's on both the offensive and defensive side right there. I'm seeing so many offense seeing wasted chances right there. Again, Konate with the header right there from 3 yards out. And I've also seen right there just poor placement of the ball and right there off of corners. I mean, so there's those things. But again, it goes back to right there going and conceding goals off of long throws, conceding cheap goals. So that right there is awful right there. But that goes with technical, in my opinion, right there, because there are technical trainings things there. But again, I also think if you look at those second half stats, you go back to mentality. You go at that the psychosocial thing right there. And again, it goes back to earlier what I said in there. You get complacent right there with a 2-goal lead, and like Cozzy said right there, you're hoping that Allison's going to go there and bail your ass out right there. Guess what? You don't have Allison now. So this is you. I mean, so you own this at the moment, and then now going forward. So you can't be complacent right there. You need to go in there and actually go and win your duels, not winning duels. These are just basic training pitch things that we're just like not achieving right there. So I mean, it's just a combination. Again, if you want to go down that whole list right there's a combination of all these things right there. That we're having tactical right there. Maybe we're not set by moving Burt's over here on the left-hand side right there instead of actually having me in a free role and, putting players that are, that are not in form, playing them through and through and through until you get to the point. Mentality, having Ikateke go in there and have two stupid moments right there, which gave you a red card, which basically killed a player's momentum right there through this. I mean, so it's just so many things right there that are going wrong, and it's amazing that we're in first place right there, and I understand right there, but again, 7 days we won't be in first place if we don't come back, actually go and get this mentality straight.
Points-wise, we're fine. Position-wise, we're fine. Right, that's one thing. That's the positive here. That Liverpool have got over the line enough, and I understand that. I agree with Brian what he said in terms of Ekatike and things like that. Ekatike, by the way, goes off with cramp. They haven't played for a week. Yeah. Cramp. Haven't played for a week. I honestly, like I don't. Oh God, but.
Let me just hold your point there, because I always like to go back to this thing. You never want to say a player doesn't fancy it, but some players just don't fancy it. They like the look of being the player, but not the heart of being a player. And I always remember that nice, fantastic story about Gerard Houllier slaughtering Paul Ince in the dressing room and telling him no captain of Liverpool should ever come off the field unless their leg is broken against Manchester United at Anfield, I think it was as well. And that's what the kind of mentality we're used to at Liverpool, from Shanks to Paisley to Fagan to Dalglish. You do not come off the field for a cramp. You come off because somebody's broken your leg, or you've broken your own leg trying to stop the other team. But yeah, it is a bit much, isn't it? Like, come on, like, I mean, if he gets cramp after a week, I could probably last the same 60 minutes he did in my condition. Like,
I think it's hard. It's hard that because football's changed so much now. You know what I mean? I don't think that mentality's there. I know I've seen Steven Gerrard speak about, like, I think he played 15 games in his whole career, but he's fully fit, he reckons, because he was always carrying, niggles and taking injections and things like that just to get going. But that mentality's not there in kids anymore. They're not there in these footy players anymore. So it's hard to say that. For me, I'm okay in a weird way with Liverpool losing games, because Liverpool lost games before and Liverpool will lose games again. Not in the manner that you're losing games. Not in the manner. If you're walking off the pitch and you go, "Fucking hell, lads play well there," but they did us. Fair enough. Okay, sound. Hold my hands up there. No problem at all. I'm not losing games because Milos Kirkos can't use his right foot. No. Kicks it out for a throw-in.
That's a fundamental of the game right there. Like, clear where it's coming from.
That's technique. That's fundamental. That's all of it. That's all.
That's what I'm talking about, though. Is that's not fundamental for a professional senior player. That's a fundamental for an 8-year-old.
Exactly, it shouldn't be. You can't use your right foot at all. You have to do a little swizzle on the turn to kick it out for a throw-in. Cost Liverpool the game. Okay, of course, Liverpool can defend it. Do you want to win your battles? Do you want to win your headers? Do Liverpool go out and create loads of chances? Was the Galatasaray keeper the man of the match? No. Was what's his name? Dean Henderson man of the match on the weekend? No. That's the problem that I have with Liverpool losing footy matches at the moment. If Liverpool go out and creating 15 chances, wasn't your day, boys, wouldn't lost the game. Fair enough. Sound, yeah. No issue with that at all. But don't leave things on the pitch. Don't say, "Oh, I could have done better," and you walk off. You should be looking at yourselves in a minute going, "Could I have done better today? Could I have done better?" And every single one of them would say yes, apart from the keeper against Palace and probably the keeper against Galatasaray before he got injured. I couldn't have done any better, lads. I was great. I was fantastic, actually. All the rest of them could probably walk off and go, "I could have done better there." And that's a fucking massive issue. And it's something that the manager's going to have to work out at least for Chelsea, and then see what happens after the international break. Do you know what I mean? Because again, the international break is such a folly, because it's okay going, "Okay, lads, we're going to try this and this and this," but they all go away for 2 weeks and you don't know what you're going to get back. Yeah. You don't know when you're going to get them back. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard, but that's why I keep saying this game's a one-off. This game is a cup final. This game is massive. It's a cup final, gents, and it should be treated like that. And go, "This is a one-off. I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Kanata, you've done me head in for weeks. I'll see you in 2. And you might come back and you might be re-energized and refocused and you could kick on. I don't know. But we have to find a way to win this football match. We just have to find a way to win this football match. I don't care how you win it. You have to win it. I think Arsenal playing West Ham at home. It's a bye. So you have to win this match by hook or by crook. And
although it is a West Ham with Nuno.
Of course it is.
So it might be a lot more difficult than it was on the Grey Potter.
By the way, West Ham beat them last year at the Emirates. West Ham beat them at home last year, then at the Emirates. So, of course, but you expect Arsenal, if Arsenal are serious title challengers, Arsenal beat West Ham at home. If they're serious. It's like when they go to Newcastle. Like I said to you, if we're going to find out if they're serious or not. Okay, they look like they're serious because they went up there and won. That's what a serious football team does.
Yeah.
Liverpool are in a stage. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Lick your wounds. You get out there. You get on the ball. You pass the ball forward. You don't wait for the right moment for them to bait it. No, you force their hand. You force the opposition into making mistakes by your press, by good quality football, by taking the ball on the turn, by looking up and finding your man. We can sit there and say Salah's at the bad start, our Gakpo hasn't playing well. They're barely getting the fucking ball. We just seen that on the map. Kirkes hasn't passed to his left winger. They're barely getting the ball. Do you know what I mean? So as much as they haven't played well, I'm not here, by the way, defending them. They haven't played well when they've had the ball. But you need to fire the ball into consistency them for them to find a bit of magic for you. They're the ones who get paid the most money, the forwards. The forwards get... Alexander Isak isn't walking on 70 grand a week, is he? He's walking in because he wants to put the ball in the net, so you pay him the most. This is the old school Macka of the football, as you know. In old school football, the strikers get paid the much. So give them the ball early and often. That's how it works. And go, Canal, you're getting paid 300 grand a week and you can't control a footy. So, again, let's see what happens. And funny enough, I actually think they will win. Weirdly, I think they'll win on the weekend, which is massively surprising, but we'll see.
We'll get to the actual game in a second, Brian. But if we're seeing fundamental breakdowns in the team from our position, watching on a television screen, and not having played professional football, I'm assuming for all of us, but at least having played the game and understood it, because it is essentially the same game from top to bottom. I don't care what anybody says. It's just faster and more powerful at the top. But it's still the same idea, still the same formation, still the same tactics. Surely the manager is seeing it as well. And if he is seeing it, he's not doing much about it in training, is he?
Well, I'll take a word right there. He's weird. He just does weird shit. I mean, I'm starting to steal your words there, Kazi. But it's the point. Again, it just goes back to this like things. Okay, I mean, I've watched if you watch Dutch managers about how they are, they basically go there and go to one thing, and then they just keep on doing the same shit. I mean, you saw that with Ten Hag. I mean, you saw that with their that he gave their basically the whole point and said, "I'm going to play this way no matter what." I mean, and to a point where you played yourself into oblivion right there. I mean, again, you see that with a lot of these managers out there. It goes to a point right there, that you have to go out there and maybe the manager needs to lick his wounds and realize right there that what he's doing at the moment is not right for the players that he has. I mean, maybe the double pivot doesn't work with this side. Maybe it's time for you to go there to change things up right there. You have a free midfielder in there now, that a number 10 that you didn't have last year, because Slavozan was never a number 10 to me. I mean, so you basically have him now. So maybe it's time for you to change this midfield position up. So maybe it's time for you to go in there to reinvent the side. And that's the one thing right there that was eventually going to happen right there. But I think we're just hanging on to ideas right there for players right there that of where you think they should go, but instead of actually rating what the players and how they manage to pitch. Back three right there, again, right there, Kazi was saying right there earlier, right there, before we came on right there. I mean, again, these are ideas right there that you have to come with there. You have two wing backs right there. You have a back three. We even said this whole thing with Gravenberg dropping back right there to go and help back with defense right there. We talked about it over the summer. These are things right there that, that we're observing right there that, okay, that your center half on your right-hand side is having many issues. Why don't you come there and go and be, when you are on the ball going forward, drop that guy one player back so you go there and make so you don't get hit on counters, because that seems like things that are happening right there that we're not going there placing players in the right spots there that setting them up for success. And those are things right there that I just don't know as far as the manager goes. Again, go to a box four midfield. Because then at least in a box four right there, you're controlling the center of the pitch right there. And right now with having
isn't that what we did though against
Palace? But I agree with Brian's saying. In effect, right, Brian, I agree with what you're saying. But also the manager is his right to pick his team how he wants.
True.
In picking formation, and I agree with what you're saying a little bit, right? But we're not actually. The manager's very good in game. So tactically, he can change things in game. That's why he was very good in second half last year. He'd make a quick change. He'd make a little bit, blah, 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 and he'll do a little change. Okay, but the game's for 90 minutes. The game's for 90. So what are you doing in the first half? And he came out against Galatasaray again. He mentioned it again. He keeps mentioning it. Teams play different when they play us. They don't play the same. When we watch them on tape, they play differently. Yeah, that's a part of being a Liverpool manager, mate. They'll play differently if they're playing Real Madrid. They'll play differently. This is not like, again. So I get what Bry's saying in effect, but I think there's also a part where you sign these players. This is no excuse now. You can't sit there and go, these are not my players. Players. You sign them. You signed them. Make them work. And whether that's taking some out, taking one or two out and going to Robertson. Kirchhoff, you can sit there for 3 weeks and watch him because he's great. No. So he has massive decisions to make. For example, I would start Chiesa against Chelsea. But he won't.
Yeah.
He won't start him. Absolutely not. We all know that. Chelsea can pick our lineup. They can pick our lineup. They'll pick 9 of the players that are going to play, which is fine. Again, I keep saying this. That's okay in football sometimes where the opposition knows but you can tweak things a bit. You can tweak slightly in game, can't you? You can go to Gakpo, go and play up front for 10 minutes, I don't know. But you can go and try something. And I'm not saying the manager isn't, in effect, but there's also a part where this isn't on the players. They have to take responsibility.
Mm.
Van Dijk can still spray a ball for 60 yards. Like, he doesn't have to pass to Kanate consistently. I've never seen two centre-halves pass to each other more than that. They just pass to each other all the time. They just pass. Like, try something. Try and fizzle the ball in. If your centre mid can't take the ball on the half turn and control the ball and get away on the half turn, they shouldn't be playing for Liverpool. They shouldn't be playing for Liverpool. Because that's exactly the... Gravenberch is great on the half turn, so is Curtis Jones. McAllister's fantastic on the half turn. Fire the ball into them quick. Quick. Let them half turn, go. Okay, we're away, beat the press, done. We're not even doing that dangerous pass. It feels like they don't want to be the player to give the ball away or make the mistake. They feel like they're too safe a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Where that's why I've got no issue with Wirtz in a way. Because at least he's trying to play a forward pass. He's trying to show. He consistently shows in game. He's not hiding, is he? He consistently shows with the ball. That's my type of player. Because I just think to myself, well, son, it'll click for you in a minute. It'll click for you. And then you'll look up before you know it. You got Isaac making that run and Salah making that run. You go, fuck me, this is lovely. But you've got to get the ball early into him. You've got to get the ball further up the field to him. He's picking the ball up from Gravenberch. I don't want you there. I want you 40 yards further forward. But again, that can all be worked out in the training ground. And fuck me, Liverpool have got a big few weeks coming up. Massive.
But if you watch right there, even with you're talking about the passing back and forth between the center halves up there, if you watch when he managed Feyenoord and AZ Alkmaar right there, he did the same thing. This is a track record right there where managers right there basically say with their I'm going to play this way. Again, it's a stubbornness where that happens right there. Because I mean, you can see if you can go there back and watch the Feyenoord matches right there prior to that right there, you can see the same exact tactics of how this Liverpool squad right there is actually doing almost verbatim right there for these things there. Eventually, when managers come out there and actually go and say and read a blueprint right there, if they have a blueprint, that blueprint gets found out right there, and then you found ways to come there and block it. I mean, and that's kind of like in the situation we're at right there, where these basics right there that you're seeing. Going back, the total football possession that's happening right there, that's getting broke down right there because you're doing total possession football in your own half. You're not doing total possession football in the opposite, in the opponent's half. So again, you're not coming there and creating anything. You're just moving the ball around. And when that does nothing. I mean, that does zero right there.
There's a great book called Brilliant Orange by David Winner, I think, if I remember correctly, about the history of Dutch football. And that's one of the points he makes is in Dutch football, if you play a long pass forward, it gets booed in the stadium. It seems like a very Dutch Arne Slot thing, whereas German football, by contrast, is all about hitting the strikers early. They had Gerd Muller for their most classic period, and he had Franz Beckenbauer behind him all the way at the back. So let's hit Gerd Muller as quickly and early as possible. Lothar Matthäus, let's get him on the ball to hit the forwards early and as often as possible. But it does seem to be, Brian, it does seem definitely to be a philosophical thing with Arne Slot. To play the beautiful football when we don't really want that. We want goals. It's Anfield.
Same thing. You watch Ronald Koeman does the same thing. A lot of these Dutch managers do the same exact stuff. I mean, honestly.
We're not asking for the Dutch Sam Allardyce, though. What we're asking is for Liverpool to create chances. That's it. If Liverpool walk off, lose a game 2-0, but I know they've created 15 to 20 chances and it hasn't taken, that's fucking sound for me. I can swallow that. But you can't walk off going, oh, Canal, we didn't deserve to lose. Did you deserve to win? Did you deserve to win? No. Well, there's no argument then if you don't win a game, is it? Do you know what I mean? Did you walk off and go, fucking hell, we battered them there? We've had some really good chances, we just didn't take them. Has that happened once this season? No, it hasn't. So,
248 passes in your own half right there tells you you're not creating chances.
Disgrace. Anyway,
well,
Chelsea.
Here's the thing. Yeah, we get to have a look and see if he learns any lessons this Saturday. Saturday, isn't it? Because I'm working at the exact same time. Yay. Of course. But I may be spared some blushes. So we've had a bit of a talk about aspects of this Chelsea game, Cozzy. We know what you want from it. Maresca he's not unpopular by any stretch with the Chelsea fans, but they also have the same conversations that we're having, where it's almost like a love-hate relationship thing. They can see that he can do some good things, but he also frustrates them with some of the weird decisions he makes. Yep. Do you think if that is the case, and it seems to be as well from Chelsea fans I know that I've talked to, is this part of why you think this is the ideal team to be playing in this moment in time? Because if they're also in a little bit of topsy-turviness, if we can get our crap together on the day, that's what's going to help us get the win.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's why it's not a bad team. It's a good team in terms of it's a big game of footy, but they are a little bit ropey at the moment. They're not sure what they are a little bit. They don't know if they want to be title challenger, top four challenger, a Champions League. I don't know. I don't know what they want to be, in effect. But there's also a part where I don't rate those two centre halves and I don't rate the keeper. I like Chalobah actually. I think he's a decent centre half, but I don't think he's a title winning centre half. I think he's a very good centre half, but the keeper's the keeper. They're probably going to do maybe Badil Shield, probably centre half, maybe because of Tosin's injury. So you're probably playing at the right time. But if you don't win your midfield battle against those two, in Caicedo and Fernandes, then Liverpool won't win the game. And it's easy as that, lads. It's called the engine room for a reason. It's literally called it for a reason, because that's where you win footy matches, in the middle of the park. And you've got to go out there and you've got to work, you've got to battle, and you've got to tackle, you've got to get the ball forward, you've got to do everything. The box-to-box midfielder is a reason. And I understand, I'm not asking for box-to-box midfielder. It's not an old school type of saying here. But you need to know how to pass the ball, you need to know how to shoot, you need to tackle, you need to do everything. And these two midfielders do everything. That's the funny thing. Fernandes and Caicedo do everything. They score. They contribute consistently in terms of goals and assists. They win tackles. You know what I mean? They can do it all. I'm not concerned at this game. I'm more the fact of we can be punished here. We don't want to give them an early goal. We can't let them score in the first 10 again. You just can't let them give them a 1-0 lead. I need Liverpool to learn from the mistakes. Good football teams learn from mistakes. They learn and go, okay, that was a bad week. We bounce back. Bad 2 games on the bounce. Hasn't punished us. Liverpool, top of the league, going into the international break. And that's what we need to see. Naive teams don't learn. I don't want them to be naive again. I don't want them to be naive. And by the way, the manager has to pick a team who isn't naive, and that's the problem.
Let me ask you this before we move to Brian's thoughts on it. if you kept everything else the same, front line and back line, and Allison out injured, etc., how much more confident would you be, not just winning this game, but in kind of making the season kick off if we had Liverpool's front, Liverpool's back, but Newcastle's central midfield?
Unless I love our midfield, because I love McAllister, but McAllister's nowhere near it. He's nowhere near it.
But that's the template they really need to get to. Isn't that kind of hard work in the middle and sacrificing your own glory almost for everybody else's?
Yes, and again, it looks like McAllister's been monstered. Like, it looks like he's, you know what I mean? He's had all his talent sucking away. He can't get going. Gravenberch is he's on and off in games, which isn't helping. And then also, we have no idea who's playing the number 8 on the number 10 role, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Week in, week out. Yes, in that aspect. But again, it's called the engine room. Again, I keep saying it for the reason. So, Liverpool are in such a weird state, but I think we can get through it. And the weird state is the manager doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know what he wants at the moment. I think
it's almost like an embarrassment of riches that he never had before, and he doesn't know what to do with it.
He wants to play with all his new toys on the same day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to leave a couple wrapped up for a bit. Sometimes you just got to go, I'll play with you next week, and I'll do that next week, which is fine because he's learned that right too. But there's also a good manager realizes that it could be a mistake. And so you've had the balls to drop Mo Salah in the Champions League game. Have the balls to drop your own signing. If it's Wirtz, if it's Isaac, if it's Kerkers. You know what I mean? He's done Frimpong, to be fair to him. You've got to have that about you now and show me. Because Liverpool, let's be frank here, their forwards are probably going to be Garnacho and Neto. They can hurt you. They can really hurt you. So we need fullbacks who can play like fullbacks. And whoever he picks, he picks. Liverpool, it's a massive game of footy, gents. I can't tell you how much of a cup final it is. If Liverpool go on and be successful this season, we'll look back at this game of Liverpool winning and go, big circle around that. That was big to go there and win. And I think that will be the one.
Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I second the whole thing about Garnacho and Neto. I mean, that's a dangerous thing right there. I think the only positive we have right there is that one, Cole Palmer is not playing, and I think that Enzo Fernandez has this season has a kind of ups and downs right there with how he's played so far. I mean, Caicedo's Caicedo right there. I mean, again, I think we're playing them at the right time, and I think that. This is by talking to the Chelsea supporter that at work right there. I think he's kind of has the same exact complaints, like you said right there, that we have right there with the squad about how things just aren't meshing out the way that they had hoped to. I mean, because going into the season right there, I thought that Chelsea was probably going to be our chief competitor going up in as far as like for the champion for the top. I really thought that they had the squad right there, and I think that to do this. I just don't know. I mean, they're at a crossroads themselves right there, just trying to figure out what exactly they are. I mean, and that's and sometimes that's a good team to play against. Sometimes it's a dangerous team to play against right there because you get those things where things just click right there, and I think we just have to go there again. You have to win a midfield battle. I mean, and that's and it's going to be difficult right there against that midfield. I mean, we basically won the midfield battle against Newcastle in a way right there, even though they came there and hit us a couple times on there. But I think that you have to go there. You have to do the side needs to do soul searching right now. They need to know exactly. The players need to know what they want to give, what they want to give this side at the moment. And I think that's a thing they have to lick their wounds, move on.
Yeah.
So I mean that's it. I mean you've won 2 in a bounce, you've lost 2 in a bounce. You have to go in there and you have to come back and win this match. I mean again, like to second what Kazi said, you lose this match, and Arsenal roll into West Ham, we're not in first place anymore. It's over with.
Let me just go back to this graphic one more time. The smaller the circle, the less touches they had. But we're also clearly lacking anybody in the number 9 position in this graphic against Galatasaray because they kept dropping into the midfield, as we can see in that crowded central area. A nice thing would be to see the top half circles being a lot bigger than they are there, and some more arrows from the left back to the left winger. Really, that would be a start, wouldn't it?
It would. I mean, and again, look how close Frimpong and Szoboszlai were, and it's not Frimpong's fault. You know what I mean. He's out of position technically, if you want to say it, but because I think he's a wing back. I think he's a weird football player. And yeah, we need more passing going forward, which is Liverpool can play it's weird this chance. Liverpool, because they're away from home against the big side, Liverpool can play a little bit on the counter. You can probably give a possession away if you wanted to a little bit. You don't need to walk off the pitch having 65% of the ball here in this game. And that might play into Liverpool's hands a little bit. When we get the ball, okay, we're quick, we're firing, so we've got to get, 30, 40 yards up the field. Do you know what I mean? But again, I keep going back to it before we wrap up. We have to go back to basics with the team. You just have to for this game. Please. For the love of God, please.
Okay, Cosy, give me just a pre-Friday, pre-Saturday team lineup goal score prediction.
What I would have, or what the manager will do?
What you'd have.
Bradley, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Chiesa, Isak, and Salah. And the only reason why I do Chiesa is because I think sometimes you deserve reward for good football. You deserve a start.
It's the only one that's making things happen sometimes.
Exactly, mate. So, and I think sometimes you deserve it. If you come on and you've been given a job by the manager to come off the bench and make an impact, and you make an impact eventually, you deserve a start. The manager won't do that. The manager will do Gakpo left wing. He'll do Isak. He'll do Salah. I think he'll do Wirtz. I think he does McAllister and Gravenberch. Sorry, he'll probably do Gravenberch and Szoboszlai centre mid. I think he'll play a right back though. I think he does this Szoboszlai trying to angle him into a team. I think it really goes against us. This argument of he's been brilliant at right back, he's been fine at right back. He's not a right back. He can't get forward. He doesn't overlap Salah, and that's what a right back does. And people go, Salah's been crap. Yeah, because he's got two lads on him. And he hasn't got a right back taking one away from him. No. Do you know what I mean? And that it helps, doesn't it? Doesn't it help when you go? You can look that way and go, he sees his right back there. The full back goes with him. Then he's isolating a man one-on-one. He can beat him on.
No,
it doesn't help. So he has to. I think Bradley has to start. I just think he has to play.
Score prediction?
I think Liverpool win 2-1. I just think we can't lose 3 on the bounce. I think the manager will learn. I don't. This is not all doom and gloom, and I want to get this across. It's not all doom and gloom, but these mistakes have been on the card for weeks. This has been on the card for weeks. Yeah. We've been going, wait till they click. Well, it hasn't clicked, and this is what can happen when it doesn't click. Do you know what I mean? It clicked for 30 minutes against Everton. This can happen if you don't play well in football matches. You can get beat. But you know what I mean? So Liverpool now, I don't think they'll lose 3 on the bounce.
Let me point out that on this very Thursday night show, we've been saying that it had a potential to fall apart. You can't rely on last minute goals all the time. Brian, team lineup prediction and goal score prediction.
I'm pretty much almost the same right there with Kazi right there in the back line right there. I think that Bradley and Robertson definitely, and I think that Konate needs to sit down. I think that Gomez needs to get that shot right there to go alongside Van Dijk. Gravenberch, and I think that Szoboszlai, which I think the manager's also going to do. I'm just sour on McAllister at the moment. I think that he just needs to kind of get himself into a role. I think that Wirtz is going to play, and I think that it's probably going to be Gakpo right there on that left, and on the left, and it's going to be Salah on the right, and it's going to be Isak in the middle right there. Do I want Chiesa to play? Absolutely. I think he deserves to play. I think that he was brilliant against Southampton. He was a brilliant player. I mean, right there, and I think that he's not getting that fair shake right there for what he should. But I mean, the manager's the manager on there. I mean, I would probably go ahead and put Chiesa up there before I start throwing Rio back into the picture, which is what I see. Which it seems like we keep on trying to blood Rio every time we turn around. And I said that a couple weeks ago right there. I just don't like doing that with young players. I think that they may have the skills right there, but that's not what their moment is right there. But yeah, I think the manager right there is probably going to want him going there and putting Konate in there, and I think I don't think that Gomez is going to play. I think you're probably going to see almost basically the same exact blueprint play that he is. Like you said right there, Chelsea can go in here in this match right there and know exactly who's playing that starting 11. I mean, we don't have to. They don't need to even go and actually guess right there because it is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's what my hope would be. Bradley, Gomez, Van Dijk, and Robertson left back. And Szoboszlai and Gravenberch central mids. Chiesa a sort of floating left winger. Salah a sort of floating right winger. And Isak and Ekitike up front to puzzle everybody. That's what my fantasy one is. He'll probably do the same things he did last week.
Yeah, of course.
Score prediction is 3-0 win, because I think Mamardashvili is a good shot stop. We've always that's his one selling point that before he came. But the fact that he's not as comfortable on the ball with Alisson means he's going to launch it. That's where we're going to get forward passes from. That's what I'm hoping for.
A little bit of Sam Allardyce FC.
Yeah, I think he's going to get nervous and he's going to launch the ball, not out of necessarily just dumping it, but he's going to go, I'm not dealing with this. Get up there, and then I don't have to take any back passes from you two shysters.
Yeah, I'm with Kasi 2-1.
We're going to get some accidental attacks like that.
Yeah, I'm with Kasi 2-1 for my score line. Also, I think the same thing. I just think that we're going to win this match right there, because I think that, again, they have to win this match, and I think the players right there have to do. But I do think that we still have that little bit of a head case in us that we're going to give up a goal.
And if we do win, it's obviously because of everything we've said here tonight. I think that's the one fact we can all agree on. So with that said, thank you everybody for joining us and being in the comments. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, because if you want to know what's going on, you got to do that. You got to ring that bell, click on all those icons on the YouTube and the Facebook and the Instagram, the ex-formerly known as Twitter and TikTok and Blue Sky as well, because we're into all of that kind of stuff. And from Kazi and myself and Brian, it's International Week next week. Who cares about that? Nobody does it. We're just going to hibernate, and we're gonna massage our follicles for 7 days before the games come back on. 10 days or something like that. And you can take from that what you want. Is there morning coffee tomorrow? I don't think there is. Is there no AM shows this week? I don't know. That's why you got to click the like and subscribes. But for everybody else, enjoy the game of the weekend. We will hopefully be the right ones here. And we'll have a nice, hopefully the weekend works out for us, given the crappy week I've had in work. And I'm sure we've all had a crappy week of some description. West Ham draw or beat Arsenal, and we somehow get win at Chelsea, and then all is right in the world as we go into the international break. And then hopefully Man United lose, and then it's just the perfect world for everybody all around. It'll be great. Okay.
Before you go, Man United have to win, so he's in charge after the international break. Please.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is very, very true.
Because if they lose, they'll be tempted to sack him, and I don't need them to be sacked.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's hope for a Manchester United win then, just for one more time, exactly. And then we'll see what happens after the break. But for everything else, be safe out there on the roads, etc., etc. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week, or maybe not. We'll see what happens with the international games. Peace out, everybody. Here's some funky music.